Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. It is a post-match reaction show. I'm your host, Matt. I'm joined by Chris. I'm joined by Kev. And we are here to pick through the details of the King Power match that finished Leicester City, totally unsurprisingly, 0. Liverpool Football Club 1, pushing us 3 points from the precipice of number 20. Chris, not exactly the same style of performance as the last time we won the Premier League and won at the King Power, but I'll take all the omens.
Oh, yeah, listen, at this point now, it's just points on the board, just get the wins done. There's far too much obsession about, I'd like us to play well. Yes, no, at this point, it is points in the bag. And listen, we've chased other sides like this, City, and, Arsenal would have found it last year is, as long as you're getting the wins, doesn't really matter. And look, will Liverpool at their best today? No, but quite frankly, it was only ever going to be a Liverpool win today because, especially second half, but even first half, Liverpool dominated the game. I mean, they had one chance to hit the post, a goal rightfully disallowed, and one half chance at 1-0. Other than that, all Liverpool could be accused of is a bit of sloppy finishing and a bit of, must do better with the final ball. But listen, it had to be Trent. All said and done, all the talk about him at the moment, you knew it had to be Trent would have another moment. And I think that's his first goal with his left foot. So he loves a goal. And listen, big moments, big players, and that's what they do. Big teams and champions find a way. Pretenders make excuses. And we've seen that all season.
There's been a lot of excuses, so there's definitely a lot of pretenders. I mean, Kev, when the game is still 0-0 and you see the substitution about to be made, I mean, it's obvious with hindsight now, but I'm pretty sure the majority of people were going, it's going to be Trent. Like, it just had to be Trent, didn't it, Kev?
Yeah, I thought he was going to have an effect on the game some way, shape, or form. Whether it was going to be a delivery into the box, bit of quality, or a shot. I think they were saying in the commentary he's got something like over 100 goal and assist contributions in 350 games. It's ridiculous. People look at him now because of the way he could be potentially leaving. He's an exceptional footballer. He just fucking is. And the quality he has on the ball is second to none. He's up there with any right back you want to talk about in world football with what he can deliver on the pitch. And that goal today was an outstanding finish. Got over the ball, focused on the shot, power. Keeper couldn't get anywhere near it. Couldn't stop it. And I mean, it was a deserved 3 points. Absolutely dominated that game. You go back, just open up any website wherever you check on the game stats. Open it up, have a look, and you look at it and you think, how the hell did this only finish 1-0? And it was one of those games. How did it finish 1-0? Especially with the way the game started inside the first couple of minutes. I just looked at it and I thought, it's going to be one of them. And that can go two ways. It's going to be one of them, oh no, or it's going to be one of them, we're really going to be on it. Because I reckon between now and the end of the season, someone is going to get a hiding off us. We haven't really seen it this season where we've dished out a proper hiding. And I can definitely see it coming at some point this season between now and the end of it. But I honestly thought after the first few minutes, it's going to be today. I just had a feeling. I just thought the way we started, it's going to be today that we absolutely tonk someone. Didn't turn out like that, but we got the 3 points, which is the main thing, and it's one more win away, or maybe not. Yeah. Who knows? All depends on what happens midweek.
Yeah, and as Hotline here is pointing out, if Palace beat Arsenal in the midweek, then Trent has just scored a goal that wins us the league, which, I mean, if it is the end of his time at Liverpool Football Club, that's a pretty good, final memory to
He's now back to Hotline. He's not nervous Hotline anymore. So that's a sign that we must be going to win the league because he's gone back to being Hotline again now. So that's a good.
Yeah, well, if you've booked a around the world trip to come to Liverpool from Australia to watch us win the league, and you start having a bit of a quote unquote wobble, I'd imagine you'd get a little bit fucking nervous too. So it's now he can finally join me. Hotline can finally join me in the comfortable realms of always believing that we were going to win. We were always going to win. And Chris, the preview show didn't go too poorly in terms of the lineup. I think 3 subs were kind of, or 3 changes were kind of expected. Simicast keeps his berth, and
I think I see what I got wrong.
Yeah, it's I mean, we get the front line of Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah again. Szoboszlai comes back in for Jones. Simicast keeps his berth, and I think he deserves his little run in the team. I think Costas did well.
He played well. I thought out of the 2 fullbacks, he was the better one by some distance. Probably the only criticism is we probably didn't get him into enough positions to whip a ball in. Because when he did whip stuff in, it was dangerous. I think Trent. I think Bradley had more of a difficult time with their right winger. He was tricky and he drew a lot of fouls and he looked a little bit rusty. But I didn't realise until the stat came up that is Conor Bradley's first back-to-back Premier League games of the season. He's not done back-to-back all season in the Premier League, which is surprising because you just assume he has at some point, but he hasn't. So, listen, Bradley will learn from that. But no, give Costas his flowers. Costas played really well and deserved to get the full game. And he's obviously reacted well to, because let's be honest, he was fuming when he got took off against West Ham. And he could. That definitely wasn't a planned sub. He looked raging when he came off. But listen, he's reacted in the right way. He's come back on, and he's played really well and kept them quiet. So fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, you kind of alluded to it that the way the match started, it looked like it was going to be, maybe not a rout, but at least a ding dong. I mean, Mo somehow manages to hit both posts and not get the ball into the back of the net. Then Ndidi hits the post a couple minutes after that. The first 10 minutes or so, and it was just like, it's going to be just an absolute belter of a game, like kind of shades of the game we watched yesterday between Newcastle and Aston Villa, where it was just kind of end to end to end. And then it just settled into kind of a for about an hour, and it really seemed like Arne Slot and the rest of the team had put a prop bet on Mo Salah scoring a back post header, because that seemed to be our determined avenue towards scoring the goal today, was get the ball out to the left, hook across into Mo coming in at the back post, and he had a few chances, but a bit frustrating.
Not for me. I don't mind that. I mean, you have a clear plan and a clear way of trying to get in on a fullback. That's fine. Work on that. And it worked. He had a couple of really good chances. One of them, the volley, he'd expect to finish that one.
That's a good block on the line.
Yeah, it was a good block on the line. The one at the start of the game where it hit both posts, he has to score that. He really has to be scoring that. That's as good a chance as you're going to get in any game of football for him. It's the perfect side. Does he have to hit that corner that tight? But look, I thought in the first half, I thought in the main really, I thought Mo had a good game. I think Thomas had a roasting for 10 minutes and then he got into it and it was a good contest. It was a good fair contest. It was a good contest between the two of them actually. But I didn't think Salah had a bad game at all. No, I don't mind that. I don't mind the way we were trying to build attacks. You could see that there was a plan to it. The corners are getting to, obscene frustration levels now. It's got to be something that has to be addressed in the summer. The way that we're either setting up for corners or the way we're attacking corners or delivering corners. We got today, but I'm betting safely that it's in double figures again. And you could say, I think, throughout the first half, we were kind of threatening. There were almost good efforts. But for a side that gets this many set pieces, this many corners throughout a season, we don't dare score enough. We don't dare work keepers enough from corners. And I know the goal came from a set piece eventually. But look, if you hand any top side like us, in the way that we dominate games, and the way that the amount of corners that we get in a game, your return has to be better than that. There you go. Was it 13 today? We throw. I looked at. I know. It's stuck out like a sore thumb. The first half, almost every corner was an outswinger. right? And in the second half, it changed where they went more for in swingers until the keeper came and clutched one with his, or came and got one with his fist. Then we tried a couple of short corners that one nearly ended up on a counter attack against us. But in the main, there's a few things that have to be addressed in the squad over the summer. But addressing how we attack set pieces going forward into next season has to be up there with one of the top things in the list for preseason. Has to improve, has to get better. Because you look at Arsenal. Arsenal are in second place in the league this season, not for their ability to score goals from open play. It's their ability to defend and their ability to score from set pieces. There is as legit an opportunity to score a goal as any counter-attack you're ever going to have in a game. You'll have more chance of scoring from set pieces from corners than you will do in flying counter-attacks throughout the season. And we just have to get much, much better at it.
Yeah. It says YNWA 97 points out, silver lining and all. The only positive is that we can only get better with set pieces next season going forward. I mean, Chris, as soon as we got to about 8 corners and didn't have really anything that troubled the goal, it was quite obvious that even if she wasn't busy trying to pack a week's worth of clothing into a small purse, that Ashley was going to refuse to be on the show today. And it isn't great. There was one, I think, that Ibu got a header on at about 39 minutes where it looked like we might be kind of like finding a way of getting better at it. But what I don't understand is I was thinking back towards the start of the season is at the start of the season, we were trying in swingers a lot more, and we were putting Ibu Konate and Virgil van Dijk right on the goalkeeper's toes. And we were throwing the ball and trying to get it because it looked like there was a point at the start of the season where it looked like Trent was trying to score an Olympico. And that was the way that we were going with it. And it seemed like we were creating a little bit of danger with it. And then we didn't score. And then we just kind of decided to really not try to score from corners, it seems like, anymore.
Yeah, it has seemed like that for a while. I mean, I think you guys were in the WhatsApp group with me. I was fuming. The one time we got a decent corner, the prick Ndidi fucking kicked it off the line. I was like, oh, come on. So one time we've had a decent corner in about fucking months. But I know we scored one last week, but they're just so rare. And it's bizarre because you do wonder, they've got to be doing something about this. And that, like you said, I think, isn't there a set piece coach coming in who Slot wanted in the summer anyway, and for reasons we couldn't get him.
Yeah, I couldn't get a visa.
Couldn't get a visa, but now he's got. I think that visa's been sorted now, so he's going to join next summer. So, maybe that's the thing to look forward to. Is they've already got the solution potentially involved, and we'll see it next summer. I mean, that's the scary thing is we're going to win the league, and there's already a big, easy win, which is if we improve those by 20%, let alone I'm not even talking like double it, 20%. You're probably adding another 10, 12 goals to our goals tally already. And that's all you need, really. And I think that in my head, that's easier to fix than trying to fix goals from open play, which I think is Arsenal's big challenge.
Yeah. I mean, if we improve by 20% next year, that's going to put us on like 118 points, which I don't even think is mathematically possible. But I
meant more by goals, but I know what you mean.
We're going to improve by 20% just straight up across the board. I mean, we get to halftime. I wasn't really upset about it at halftime. I mean, Kev, I know you said you thought we played kind of well. Like, I didn't think we were playing poorly. It wasn't shades of the Fulham game. We obviously weren't at our absolute flying best, but this Leicester team is now officially relegated, and good for them. They're getting relegated because they're not very good. And they never really look like threatening us.
No, unless they were going to score from a glaring mistake, someone doing something stupid in midfield, giving the ball away, Mavididi getting on a counter, a ricochet, something like Ndidi's shot in the first half. It came from, they had two in the first half, really. You think back, there was one run from midfield that the ball went, Bradley came out, then he went back and they had the clearance. Then the second one was the one that hit the post and that was unusual because indeed he took the shot early with his left foot, but it came from a mix-up in the box, more or less our own mistake. But in general, I think with a lot of sides that are down at that neck of the table, you look at who's down there. I mean, Southampton, soft. Ipswich tried to play too much pretty football, no ability to keep clean sheets. Leicester, you think, with experienced players that they have out there, and they do have experienced players, they should be better organised than what they are. They've conceded 73 goals this season. They've scored 27. That's the reason they're down at the bottom end of the table. They don't score anywhere near enough goals. You're still relying on Jamie Vardy. I mean, Jamie Vardy has had an exceptional football career for someone who was working on building sites in his early 20s. He's played through the Ian Wright way of coming through the non-league into Football League, up the divisions. He's 38 years of age, and he's starting a game and playing 70 minutes in a game that you have to win. That shouldn't happen. I mean, they've had massive financial problems over the last few years, but ultimately, and even when they go down, sometimes when you see sides that go down, you think, yeah, they're going to come straight back up. I'm looking at that Leicester squad there, and I wouldn't be anywhere near confident that they're going to come back up. I wouldn't. There's too many players that are of a bad age, the likes of Pereira, Ndidi, Samare, Vardy. There's too many. They need to get them out of the club and off their wage bill, and try to fucking build something again. Because the young lad that they brought on the pitch towards the end, 15 years of age, I mean, you can't be in that situation as a Premier League football club where you're depending on 15-year-olds to come off the bench to save you. It's just ridiculous. They're down. They deserve to be down based on performance. But personally, I'm fucking glad they're down. An absolute shithouse fans, shithouse club. Don't like the way the owner does this owner does his business. Had no problem with the previous owner, and when they won the league, I was absolutely delighted for them. But at the end of the day, they've been run terribly, and they deserve to be where they are.
Yeah,
speaking of 15-year-old, Phil's very Rafa Benitez. Do you remember when Rafa brought on Robinson as left back? He's like, this is the youngest ever player to play for Liverpool. I thought, yeah, that's a message, because he's going, look at the shit I've got on the bench. You need to help me out. That's what Rafa used to do all the time. But I suppose for Nistelrooy, he's got, I don't care. So
Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's got a 2.5-year contract, I think, that he signed at the club, which I guarantee has exit clauses on both parties, because he's not going to want to be there. He's only doing damage to his reputation, because he does have a good reputation as a coach. What he did in Holland, he does have a good reputation as a coach. 1 minute on Ruud van Nistelrooy, by the way, because I remember when he was 19 and Ferguson was about to sign him, and all the talk coming out of him, that out of Holland, that he's the next one on the rung for the Dutch. That he's going to be like their talisman for the next decade. And credit to Alex Ferguson, he waited for him after 2 horrendous injuries. I think one of them was in a car crash. But a phenomenal striker, a phenomenal player, and by all accounts, a really good coach. Just dealt a really shitty hand. And he'll get out of that, and I think he'll probably go on the continent and have a decent managerial career. But I honestly wouldn't fancy. I don't think Leicester are coming back up, not straight away. I think they've got a big rebuild going on there. They're in trouble in a big way, more so than Southampton and Ipswich.
Yeah, I mean, at least you look at Southampton, you can see they've got some exciting young players there. That they're either going to sell and make some good money on and hopefully reinvest that into the team, or go back down, have a year in the Championship, and try to come back up again and make a fist of it. But you look at Leicester, and I mean, a backline that has Wout Faes and Connor Cody in it, and it's like even Ricardo Pereira has been a good fullback for Leicester, but he's been a good fullback for Leicester for 7 years, 8 years, something like that. Like he's he's getting to the end of the road with them. And just on Van Nistelrooy, I mean, as much as his time at Leicester isn't going to help his CV, the one thing he has that will help him is that he is, without question, the best manager that Manchester United had this season. So
I have a stat on that. Can I give you my Man United stat?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Because I saw that.
So this is from Andrew Beasley. 23 points in 22 games for Ruben Almiron. Roy Hodgson's Liverpool would be 2 points ahead of them with 2 games in hand. Just that's to put into context of how shit they have been.
I mean, it's I don't know if I'm in the same boat as Real Talk, who says I think I would take Liverpool not winning another game to see Manchester United finishing 17th in the Europa League. I'm almost certain Real Talk means this season. I'm sure we would still actually win the league even without winning another game for the rest of this season. But I mean, they've got hard yards ahead of them. Another disappointing loss for Manchester United earlier today. Chris, I mean, the second half is going along. I mean, I guess before we get into it, I will say yesterday we did our Final 20 show. Kev joined Ashley, Gav, and myself on that, which was absolutely lovely. If you're like Chris and you're kind of hamstrung to watch the 3 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday, could I recommend a good VPN for you? NordVPN, the #1 VPN choice for all sports fans out there, or people that just want to be safe on the internet. So you'll find a discount code in the description for the show. If you're looking for a VPN, it's without question, it is the #1 VPN going out there. So it helps the show out a little bit. If you are looking for that and you want to save yourself a little bit of money, just click on the link in the show description below and go to NordVPN for some amount of money off or some amount a month, whatever it comes out to being. Chris, it felt to me like there was a goal coming around about the 55, 60-minute mark. It felt like we were working up towards it. And then they get the ball in our net, and the Liverpool magic is back because the PGMOL, Howard Webb, comes parachuting into the stadium to make sure that Liverpool doesn't concede a goal, and they overturn it immediately. I mean, it's just a clear foul on Alisson, is it not?
It's not the most subtle push. If you're going to lean on a keeper to try and sort of get advantage, which, look, plenty do, that's fine. When you just push him in front of even PGMOL refs are going to go, yeah, you can't really do that. I love the fact that Kodakode and Daka both went, why? As in, like, what's that for? So, to be honest, that goal felt a bit like the West Ham equaliser. As in, I think it gave a few players a bit of a kick up the arse going, yeah, you still need to get the game won, lads. Can we get the game won now? And to be fair to Slot, Elliot and Trent coming on made a real difference. Both of them were very good and just gave us a bit of string. It made sense taking Bradley off. He was on a yellow. And Szoboszlai was indifferent, I would say. He was better second half. He was anonymous first half. So, and to be fair to Elliot, this is where you can see the frustration of why doesn't he play a bit more, because he just gives a bit of creativity, a bit of freedom. You know, he's a different type of attacking mid to Szoboszlai, but that's fine. But I just thought he linked up with Mo better. I thought he got Joss involved in the game, who I still thought was a bit on the periphery. The pleasing thing I also thought was, I think Kev said it to us in our chat, is that's the best thing Gakpo played since his injury. He looked like he was starting to find a little bit of form again, which was actually quite nice to see because, you know, at some point we will need a fit again Gakpo doing well.
Yeah. And David Mathis is just repeating this. He put it up earlier and I forgot to save it. It is absurd. Tim Howard and Robbie Mustoe on the US feed said that the Leicester goal should have stood. They can fuck right off. I mean, Kev, if you want a completely unbiased opinion on Liverpool, Tim Howard is probably a great person to go towards, former Everton goalkeeper. But strangely, kind of stabbing the goalkeepers union in the back, like a scab for the goalkeepers union of crossing the line. Because on my feed, they said anywhere else on the pitch, and that's not a foul. When I think it was a minute before that, Leicester got a free kick down Connor Bradley's side with even less contact than there was on Alisson Becker. So it's all just quite rich.
Yeah, it's a foul. I mean, you can't, if you're going to nudge the keeper, you have to not use your arm and do that. You know,
Yeah, you have to lean. You have to do, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to lean into it and back into him. Just kind of like use your body to shield keeper away from the action. But it was a foul. I mean, it's just a foul. But you're right. It was a warning that look, they got close in the first half from a bit of sloppiness, and a mistake will cost you. And it doesn't matter whether you're playing in the Premier League or in the third round of the FA Cup against a non-league side that are relishing at the bottom of it. Anyone will capitalize on a mistake if you give them half a chance, and especially at that point in the second half, because we came out in the start of the second half, first 20 minutes, we absolutely dominated the whole lot of it. You know, they couldn't get out. We kept them penned in. We moved from side to side. We were creating chances, working the keeper, getting corners, you name it. Done everything but score. And I think the other glaring problem, and you saw it throughout the game really, was the issue with not having a number 9 that you can hang your hat on. It's a big problem. Look, I thought Gakpo played well. I thought Diaz played well, and he played better when he was out wide. I mean, Salah had a good game, but not having a number 9 that you can hang your hat on, or that you can hit from you can hit from crosses from wide, who can hold it up and bring others into play that you can build off, is a problem. And it's a problem that's going to be addressed. We know that it's going to be addressed in the summer now. I mean, there's enough noise out there about it. But the crazy thing is, we have the potential to do 94 points, and you can see the improvements that are going to come. You know that Arne Slot's going to be so much better second time round. You know that this squad is going to improve because it's going to add more quality. And the confidence that this squad, bear in mind, a lot of these players, their first time getting over the line here, they're going to be better for the experience. And, you know, it's just more and more of a good time to be a Liverpool fan at the minute, because the next 2-3 years are going to be seriously, seriously promising. Seriously exciting. Can't wait for it, really. But the way that we started that second half, that 15-20 minute spell, I thought someone at some point is going to slip a pass. Someone is going to play a wall pass, and we're just going to get in, and it's just going to score. And that's just going to, it's almost like you were toying with your food, and eventually you're just going to get bored and just eat it. You know, and eventually it came, but it wasn't from the one to try. And we absolutely battered them for about 20 minutes, and it was going to come eventually. It was just a case of who, and it turned out it was Trent. You know, and all credit to the lad.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I'm not entirely sure how they handled the volume leveling of the crowd for the international feed, because I saw in our Telegram members chat of all of our Patreon members. So if you're watching us free, first off, throw a like button onto the YouTube channel for us. It helps bump us up the algorithm. But if you're interested in taking in some of the content that the channel is going to have, I mean, if you time it right, there's a free month available on Patreon, and we're getting pretty close to the last month of the season. So, you know, not telling you what to do, but if you're being smart about it, you know, take advantage of that. There were some people in the members chat, Chris, that were like, oh, when Trent came onto the field, like, oh, like he got booed when he came onto the field. And then they were singing his song. And there's going to be, I'd imagine, a semi-forensic breakdown of his celebration, because, I mean, it does come from a corner. We'll give some credit there. It's an absolute clusterfuck in the Leicester box. The ball hits the post, I think, twice. The keeper absolutely creams his own player, and they all decide that they're going to, you know, call for a head injury while the ball is sailing into the net. And then Trent whips his top off in celebration, and now we all need to try to decipher what that means. But for me,
the best bit of the replay though is the fellow who gets his head whacked. He's on the floor lying down, and he does the slight look up, sees it falling, sort of lies back down and goes, "Oh, my head!" It was proper like, oh shit, yeah, I got to pretend I'm injured a bit though.
So. Yeah, you got to pretend to be a little bit more injured. I mean, regardless of what other people might interpret Trent's taking the top off celebration to mean. I looked at his just visceral primal reaction to that, and you can tell, even if he's all but signed a contract with Real Madrid and there's nothing that Liverpool can do to make him change his mind and he's off at the end of the season, that this does mean something to him. That winning this league with Liverpool still does mean something to Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, it dispels the bollocks that was coming out that he's a prick and he doesn't give a shit about Liverpool. Like, well, that's his club. Whether he wants to leave, which is what's sticking in people's craw, so be it. But he can't say this season he hasn't put it in. And look, he's had a couple of goals this year that have been important goals for us. And listen, that's a big goal. First one on his left foot, and that's what you want him to do. The celebration, I just put in the Telegram group. It's a funny celebration for someone who apparently doesn't give a shit. Does that mean he's staying? You could spin that either way. You could say you don't take your top off and celebrate like that if you're going, but then you could also say he's celebrating because he's scored potentially a winner in potentially one of his last games for Liverpool, so he's going to enjoy it. You can spin it whatever way you want. End of the day, with most footballers, like if he does it on the pitch, sound. I'll worry about next season when it comes, and that's for Arne Slot and Richard Hughes to worry about. Which is if he goes, right, find a way of creativity. Because what it did highlight is we still miss a bit of a creative spark at the moment. And listen, Conor Bradley's a really good fullback and he's going to be really good for us. But I still think, assuming Trent does go, you've got to find a way of getting a bit more creativity in that side. Now, it doesn't have to be the right back. We could just have, a Bradley and another right back who's a similar ilk to a Robertson, an up and down traditional right back. But we've got to find a way of getting a bit more spark, either out wide or through the middle of the pitch. And that's what Trent. That's the one thing that Trent is highlighting. I think that is interesting. Trent always copies celebration from Stevie. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Like, I mean, listen, if I had a body like that, I think I'd whip my shirt off as well. To be fair, so there is the element of. I think he just knew it was a big goal as well. So if he's off, he's off. But listen, give him his flowers. He came on, he played well, and he scored the decisive goal of the game. Kind of what you want your vice captain to do.
Yeah. I mean, Kev, what's your at home detective telling you about Trent's celebration?
I think that he realizes how important it was to get 3 points. I think he wants to get this one as quick as possible. And there's way too many people out there trying to erase him from this title. And it's out of order, to be honest. He's been a phenomenal player for us. He is a phenomenal player for us. And the reason why him going is the one that sticks in your craw. Not the fact that it's a local lad or it's someone who's come through the academy. All that stuff is kind of frustrating in its own right. For me, it's always been about the fact that he's gonna leave on a free because he's world class. Because in a market, if he had 3 years left in his contract and he wanted to go to Real Madrid, he's a 70, 80 million pound player all day, every day, twice on Sunday. And it's because of moments like that. He will deliver you either assists or goals at important moments. And he's got that in his locker. He's just an excellent, excellent footballer. And very difficult, near impossible to replace like for like, because there isn't another right back in world football like him. There's plenty of good right backs out there. There's a fair few, and I'm pretty sure we're going to sign one, but they're not him. And no matter what happens next year when we get someone in, we're going to be playing and building up differently without him. And that will come through from the manager. But I was happy for him. I don't read anything into the celebration. I don't. I mean, I like the fact that Ashley's put stuff in the comments there today, that we'll get to him in a minute, that he has come out and spoke to the press, which I don't know if he was asked about his contract. And it's negligence on the part of the players, of the media, not to push him on it now. But I have a feeling no matter what, I think it'll get announced next week. I think that by hook or by crook, I think it'll be done next week because the club won't want the can you imagine now? We go and beat Spurs next week. We win the league. And 3 days later, oh, by the way, Trent is going. It's the come down. It's a big come down. I think the club will want to manage this in a way that when the league is won, that we're on an absolute media high for the next month.
But I think that's when they will
enjoying every single bit of it. Eh?
I think they will announce it though after it's won.
I don't.
If he's going, because if he announced it before the league's won, so before Tottenham, again, it's a big excuse to be. What a shit time to announce that. Just we've got to win the league next week.
Yeah, I get that. But I get that, and the reason why I disagree is because it's going to get won anyway. It's going to get won anyway. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference. I'd like it to be against Spurs. I'd love it to be against Spurs. But I'd love it to be against Spurs because it's at Anfield. Nothing more than that. But I honestly think that you can imagine. I mean, you've seen what the media team were like after the Salah signings and the Virgil signings. We all know that this is coming. We all know that he's going. So it's afterwards. I don't want to be 3-4 days after the title and the media narrative, what are Liverpool going to do? I want to be able to, Liverpool's won the league and the media focus on the squad for the season, rather than, because how they work with this. You know how they're going to be. If they can be divisive, the British press will be divisive and they'll use it as in any way, shape or form. But now I just think that, and in fairness, you look at Madrid. Madrid need something as well because they're out of the Champions League. Looks like they're going to lose. They're not going to win the league in Spain. Ancelotti's leaving after the Copa del Rey final. They'll probably want to announce something as well. So it's probably in both Madrid's and Liverpool's interest to orchestrate it in a way with the least impact possible.
Yeah, it's Real Talk is saying they'll announce it after the bus parade via video. I mean, as much as it would be funny if they just took the Jordan Henderson goodbye video and used AI to put Trent's head over top of his body, that would just be kind of funny. I think it has to come out before the final game of the year because if Trent is leaving, he deserves the same level of send-off that at an absolute minimum that Thiago and Joel Matip and Bobby Firmino get from Anfield on the final day. And I think with 3 or 4 weeks of celebrating a title in the bank, I'm almost certain that the people inside of Anfield on that final day will get over the fact that Trent's leaving on a free and give him the applause and the flowers and the adulation that he deserves for the career that he's put in for Liverpool. Because, I mean, today was 350 appearances for Liverpool. This isn't a fledgling moment in his career. The biggest part, regardless of what happens at Real Madrid, unless he goes on and wins the fucking Ballon d'Or as a right back, in the fullness of time, when people look back at Trent Alexander-Arnold, he will be remembered as a Liverpool player. And that's just the way it's going to be, unless he becomes the greatest right back that's ever played football ever because of 5 years at Real Madrid where he wins absolutely everything and scores 50 goals a season. And if that comes, so may it come. Ashley's not here, but somehow she still managed to throw in stats and quotes for us, which is just absolute dedication to the show. No checklist, though. I didn't get a checklist today, so I'm just going to absolutely wing this. Chris, though, running absolutely riot with Ashley not here, throwing in stats.
I'm allowed when she's not here. I can't do stats when she's here because I get on thin ice.
Here you are, then. I mean, according to Opta, we had 9 big chances against Leicester and did not score any of them. The second time on record for the last 15 years that a side has had 9 or more big chances in a Premier League game without scoring any of them. Do you know what the other game was, Chris?
I think it was Blackburn against Newcastle, I think they said. I just couldn't fit it all. I didn't have enough characters.
Who had the 9 big chances, I wonder? I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you either.
But I mean, that goes to play into the world's most important stat, which is XG. Leicester had an XG of 0.26 and 0 goals scored. Liverpool 1 goal scored with 3.12 XG. And I will say immediately after we scored, how the fuck Diogo Jota doesn't score at the back post. I mean, it might be that Ricardo Pereira gets just enough of a slight glance on the ball or is in the way and puts him off, but you got to score, Jota. Mo just needs those final few assists, but that was definitely a real big chance. After the match,
the Gakpo ball was bad. The Gakpo ball was bad as well.
There was a few. Like, I mean, you don't get an XG of 3. Like, I think when we beat Bournemouth 9-0, I think our XG that game was 3. So it kind of shows to Goya that it's not a truly reliable stat. Kostas Tsimikas after the match says, "We are almost there. We showed from the first minute to the last. We want it the most." And then the man of the hour, Trent, says, "I've said all season that I'm not going to speak on my situation. I'm not going to go into details." And then he continues, "But days like today are always special. Scoring goals, playing games, winning titles. They are special moments for me, and I'm glad I played my part." And then Chris puts in the exact same quote, so you're completely off of quote duty again, Chris. Kostas Tsimikas on the chance to win the league at Anfield. He says, "It gives us an extra boost. We want to celebrate with all the fans at Anfield. For sure, it will be on fire." There's the understatement, I think, of the season. Kostas talking about Trent. "What a player. As a human being, he is an exceptional lad. I love him so much. He deserves it. All these time he was out. He worked so hard to be back." Because it is, I think, the first game he's played in, 5 weeks or something like that. Ashley's repeated the same quote. Jeez, you guys are terrible. Jamie Carragher on Trent, he says, "I think the frustration from Liverpool fans throughout this process was with Salah and Van Dijk coming out to speak. It was always with the remit that they wanted to stay." Trent continuing, "I've had some good moments in the stadium, the King Power that is, being so close to winning the title. It was my first game back from injury. I'm pretty sure that was my first left-footed goal in my career," which it was. Trent talking about Virgil. He says, "He put me onto the front to soak it in. The away fans have been amazing. They pushed us to the final minute in every game. Being one win away with the fans here, it's a special moment." Arne Slot, when asked about Trent's contract situation, said, "All the headlines should be about Trent scoring this goal and all the incredible moments he has delivered for this football club over the years," which kind of seems slightly finalized. There's another stat you had here, Chris. Oh, yeah. I like this. Win, 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 draw, win, loss, win, win. The form figures from the last 13 games of the team that, depending on who you listen to, is laboring over the line to the title. That quote is from Dom King. And it goes to what Neil Atkinson just absolutely marmalading that poor guy on Sky Sports about us wobbling over the line. Kev, I'm going to come to you because Chris doubled up on Ashley's quotes, so he has to go last for man of the match, honorable mention, and needs to do better.
It's a tough one because, we dominated the game, but we only got over the line 1-0. So I think a lot of players played well, but kind of played well within themselves, if you know what I mean. I kind of hate, I'm going to go and have a wirewool bath after this, but I agree with Gary Neville. I'd give it to McAllister. So in the middle of the part, he kept it ticking over. He was always the release valve. He was always the elbow. He was snapping into the tackles. Got broke up a bit a few times as he tends to do, but he was Johnny on the spot. He was involved everywhere. And the thing he could probably improve on more is his accuracy from his set piece, from his corner delivery. But so he was probably our best player. Honorable mention, Kostas did really well. Had a really good day, up and down. The one time that he got outside Cody Gakpo and delivered a cross for Salah to have one cleared off the line, it was unfortunate. But defensively, he was sound, and going forward, he was a constant threat. Could do better, and it's harsh, but it's Szoboszlai, because I said it to you guys before we came on air. He had the highest passing accuracy of anyone on the pitch at 94%. It was the first half. He looked like he was getting in the way. He just looked like he was getting in everyone else's way. It was frustrating watching him, because in the second half he was much improved. Started taking shots from outside the box. Looked a lot more dangerous. So you could see in the space of two halves of football what he can deliver and what he needs to do better. I think he would be my one, that can do better, because he can do better.
He almost did, because I think it was Szoboszlai, if I'm correct, that played the ball into Mo in the first 2 minutes when he rattled both posts. And it's one of those sliding doors moments. If that ball goes in and he's got that assist, he might kick on from there. Chris, who would you like?
Man of the match, I'd go for McAllister. I just think all of our best play goes through him. He does dirty work really well, and I just think a lot of our potent attacks came through him. Honorable mention, I mean, Kev's right, Costas is the correct answer, but just to be different, I mean, I suppose you have to say Trent. I know he only came up fifth for 20 minutes, but he did score the winner. So you do kind of have to give him his flowers to that. Could do better. Szoboszlai is the right answer, though. He's just too much on the periphery. It's more flashes of goodness and a lot of forgetting he's on the pitch. So, I mean, the other one could be Ashley doing quotes in the car, but apparently, Matt, that's really annoyed her now. We don't want to get her annoyed.
Yeah. No, she's going to have to go on vacation before next month when she goes on vacation again. So,
it's that's true.
Real tough. I kind of think that's the correct answer. I really do think that's the correct answer. I mean, Alexis McAllister, at one point late in the second half, they showed his touch map, and it was everywhere. It was everywhere. And it's just, he keeps going. He got absolutely creamed again, because of course he did. It wouldn't be a Premier League game without Alexis McAllister getting absolutely clobbered at some point or another. And yes, Tsimikas did well. And Szoboszlai he's running the risk of losing his spot it'll almost certainly be Curtis Jones, but I really think it should be time for Harvey Elliott to get a chance to go out with 10 of the first 11 players and start a game from the start and see how he can impact the game, because
Elliott has a good, always tends to play well against Spurs. So he seems that Spurs at home seems to be a game that he's always seems to perform in as well. So there is a little bit of horses for courses.
I mean, he's got to play Jota, though. I mean, if we're playing Spurs, you got to play Jota. It just feels like.
Well, I thought Jota was going to score today because he hates Leicester. He hates Leicester more than anybody.
Yeah.
Just another stat to really annoy Ashley. Michael Reed flashed up. Trent Alexander-Arnold now has 4 goals and 2 assists in his 7 games at the King Power Stadium, the most goal involvements at any venue other than Anfield. So he does like playing against Leicester. So
he would absolutely tear the championship up. So, if he signs for Leicester, that would go extremely well for him. I mean, really, though, at the end of it, this is from right at the start of the show, Real Talk saying, and I mean, Kev couldn't be more bang on. Next Sunday is going to be magic. And that ties in nicely with a couple other comments that I've saved here I want to just get to. Davey T, our resident Newcastle fan, who took a bit of one on the chin there yesterday, but saying, watching today's game highlighted to me the need for atmosphere inside of stadiums. Games are so much better with it. Our traveling fans sang all game, but had nothing coming back with the exception of the absolute fucking garbage that Leicester fans sing. And then Madge Apple saying, we should have been allocated more tickets that the Leicester fans weren't going to attend.
There's some like 8,000.
Yeah.
8,000 traveling fans.
Yeah.
For that one.
And I mean, obviously, so I would imagine there was probably a fair few Liverpool fans hidden amongst the home supporters, just on the off chance that Ipswich had done us a favor today, and today was the day for it. But
yeah,
it ain't going to have nothing on next Sunday, Kev.
No, and the thing is, Spurs' season hinges on what they do in Europe. They've to go to Frankfurt and get a clean sheet first and foremost. But to get a win in Frankfurt is tough. And they played completely differently to how they have been playing pretty much most of the season. And they were better for it. They were organised and they took the chance when it came. And they rode their luck at times. Frankfurt were unlucky. But for us, from our point of view, I think it's going to be near impossible for the players to do it. But they almost have to try to take the emotion of the day out of it and play the game on its merits, because it's going to be massive. It's the crowd, the atmosphere, everything, the pressure, the build up from the media all week long is about Liverpool being crowned champions, and it's going to be hard for the players to ignore that. But to get the best performance out of them, they have to ignore it as much as they can, and relish it when it comes, relish it when it happens. Because if Spurs come out and try to play against us and try to do what Postecoglou says he wants his sides to do, because he's not for changing, then there's going to be so much space for us to play in. But if he does what he needs to do, and he does what he should be doing in Europe as well, and uses this game as almost a practice for how they approach games in Europe and set up defensively and look to play on the counter, it could be a longer afternoon for us. And that's where we'll have to be patient and hope that when it comes that we can capitalize on it and score a couple and just enjoy the afternoon. But I don't expect it's going to be easy. Most games this season, I think we've won so many games this season by the odd goal. I don't think that next Sunday is going to be any different. I think it's going to be a hard day's work. And you just look at it, they'll have to use this week as the best way they can. Prepare for the best version of what Spurs can give them and go into it with the right attitude. Because that's all it is, it's mentality. Go into the game with the right mentality. We have the quality. But as long as the mentality is right, we'll get a win and we'll be crowned champions this time next week.
We certainly will. Chris, Gavin Walsh saying the media buildup of Liverpool being crowned champions, in my opinion, was the reason that Arteta went so strong today. The poor amateur egomaniac. It's now, this is the brilliant part of it, Chris, is that we've now reached mathematically the point of the season where it doesn't matter anymore. One result against a terrible Spurs team. And we win it.
And Thor made the great point is, which actually could be more fun, is watching Ange Postecoglou's press conferences, because let's be honest, he hated half the Spurs fans when they didn't want to win against City to make sure Arsenal win the league. Fuck me. Spurs fans will generally be telling them, play the fucking reserves and play your strongest side on Thursday against the Danish side they're playing. I can't remember the player now.
Norwegian, and it is Bodo Glimt.
Bodo Glimt.
That's her. Who I've just realised are only 2 games into their new season, because they have that weird their season splits differently.
There's a summer season, yeah.
Yeah,
they play summer football.
Yeah, which is understandable. It's fucking cold though. So, but yeah, that could be more fun watching him lose his shit when his own fan base want him to lose. I'm absolutely looking forward to that. But yeah, listen, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be hard work. We'd all love a comfortable 5-0 win. It's definitely going to be one of those 2-1 late goals. Something stupid like comes off Chiesa's arse and goes in to win it 2-1. It's going to be one of them.
Chiesa's not going to play.
It's going to be one of those mad games. It's going to be
I'm fully of the belief that Ashley has Federico Chiesa packed into her carry-on and he's being returned, because we haven't used him enough. So we're still within the return period. We're going to get all of our money back and he's being returned.
Well, that will happen. We will get all of our money back, and we will cover his wages with what we sell him on for profit. But I'm really disappointed because I had such high hopes for him. I think he's a top quality. No, I just think he's a top quality footballer. I think he'll go back to Italy, and you can see the quality there. Yeah. And in fairness, Scott McTominay is ripping it up for Napoli. Chiesa is going to have a field day. Chiesa is going to have an absolute field day. And, it just goes to show what's going to happen in the summer, because I know for a fact we're going to be better. And you look at what we're doing now. And we're going to be better. What a time. What a time to be a Liverpool fan.
Right. I mean, you couldn't have hit it any more on the nose, Kev. And like you said, we all just need to relish this. Like, really enjoy the next week and all the buildup and the rest of the season. Just absolutely relish it, because nobody is going to catch up to us, because we are the absolute mustard. thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thanks again to Chris and to Kev for joining us. I'm not entirely sure if we have a Sunday night show coming up tonight because it is, in fact, Easter Sunday. So I hope everybody is having a happy Easter, unless you are a lamb or a turkey or a ham or something like that, in which case you had a terrible day, an absolutely terrible day. And yeah, I mean, just enjoy it. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's springtime out. It is playoffs in hockey and basketball. The baseball is back. Formula One is on right now. Everything's all good. It is also 420. Kyle has absolutely nailed that one right on the absolute nosy. And, oh, yeah, we're going to win the league. So that's enough from us. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you after the next game where I believe Liverpool will be champions. See ya.